The easiest way to set up a mix is to go to my homepage and download this template. But if you really want to learn a thing or two, the best way is to set it up yourself. And since I'm preparing for a tour, I thought I'd bring you along with the setup process. So grab a coffee and let's go. This is the first time I'm using the new software update for the LV1, so we might find a few new features that I don't know about yet, but yeah, we'll see. But let's start from the beginning. Here's a project that's absolutely empty, and this one can be downloaded from my homepage as well. So no plugins, no routing, no nothing. So it's as empty as it can be. So in order to set all of this up, you really need to know what inputs you are dealing with. And this is a straight up rock show with an artist who was really big in the 90s and just released a few new songs. So we're going on tour this spring. And here's the input list for this tour. So we have a drum kit, we have a bass amp and DI, 2 electric guitars with 2 mics on each amp. We have an acoustic guitar, some keyboards and some vocals. So it's really just straightforward rock and roll show. So let's start with assigning all the channels according to the input list. All right, so we have all the names and colors for each channel, and if you're using different colors than this, you're doing it wrong. So green for drums, bass are red, guitars blue, keyboards this kind of purple, and then orange for backing vocals, and this well, I don't know, puke color for the main vocals. And we also have set some groups. So here's a drum group, drum smack group, music. This is guitars and keyboards, backing vocals and vocals, and some effects: a hall reverb, a plate, a slap delay, a normal kind of tap delay, and a drum reverb. And we might add more stuff later on, but this is kind of a starting point. And just remember that we need to, the keys are obviously stereo, so let's flip this one to stereo. The rest of the channels are mono channels. So all right. Next thing is to patch all of this so that the right input from the stage box arrive at the right channel. And before that, we actually need to set up a stage box. And for this tour, I'll be using just one stage box, and it's this one. It's 32 in and 16 out. And while we're here, let's set up a server as well. Well, I have this fit controller, so why not just set all of this up, and you just choose the fit controller, and I will have the faders follow mixer 1, and the master fader, well, I use this for effects, so and I always have this on the last link, so this is my starting point. Now let's go to the patch and make sure that the input list lines up with the actual channels. All right, and you might say, well, Joe, why don't you just use a one-to-one patch? And the answer is because of reasons. Next question. Right, we need to assign the recording computer as well. So let's use this one, and now I actually use the one-to-one patch. So the obvious question is, why would I use a one-to-one patch for the virtual sound check, but not for the inputs from the stage box? And well, it's the same answer. It's because of reasons. Let's move on. Now let's assign all of the input channels to a DCA, and this is primarily for the link So with all of the input channels assigned to link 1 or DCA 1, we can press the link button up here, and then whatever we do to one channel will happen to all of these. So for instance, I want to remove all of these from the left right, so then it's just one press and it's gone for all of these channels. So the next thing is to set up the signal flow, and for me all of the input channels goes through groups. So let's turn off the link, and the drums are going to the drum group, which is number 1. So let's set all of this up, and actually I use the bass for the drum group as well. So all drums and bass go through the drum group, and number 2 is the smack group, and there I just want kick and snare and toms. All right. Guitars, this is the music group, so let's assign all the guitars to the music group, and the keyboards as well, group 3. And backing vocals, group 4, let's see, like so, and then the main vocal is group 5. What? There we go. So all of the input channels go through groups, and the groups go to the left-right, and then the left-right is assigned to matrices. And I have a video linked up here where I go through everything that has to do with matrices. So let's just do a quick setup. So on this tour, I will use a main PA matrix, a one for sub, front fill, and side fill, and also a center. And I just do a quick setup with all of this, and take a look at the matrix video where I really go in depth to how and why I work with matrices. So come rehearsal time, you don't want to go, that's strange, this should work. So let's make sure that we have a signal going from the inputs and all the way through to the output. So one way of doing this is to insert a pink noise generator on all of the channels, and we actually have pink noise on all of the channels right now. The reason that we don't see it on the mirrors is because these mirrors are showing the input, and we actually generating the signal after the input. So if we just switch to, let's switch to the groups and raise channel 1, we see that this one is coming to drums and the smack group. And if we raise this one, we see that this one is sending to the master. And when raising the master right now, you should hear pink noise coming from my headphones. And it does. So let's just keep the headphones over there so that you don't have to listen to all of this crappy pink noise. But let's turn this up and then go through all of the channels and see that we have signal going to the right places. Perfect, right on the first try, I'm a genius. So everything is patched, we have the labels, we have the signal flow going, so, well, you know what time it is, it's plugin time. So first of all, let's get rid of this pink noise generator, because I don't see that we really need this one. And to me, a good starting point is to have a channel strip on all the channels. So let's go with my favorite one, and it's the Shep's Omni channel. So let's insert this one to all of the inputs. Then we obviously need some special sauce for the groups. So let's start with the drum group. And here I really like to have a, let's see, we got the SSL compressor. So this one for the drum group with a slow attack, fastest release, and yeah, well, the ratio at 4:1, and the threshold we just have to wait and see. But yeah, we'll see where it ends up. The Smack group will also have a compressor, and for that I really like the DBX 160. There it is, and it's this one. So this is, and this will be really heavy compression. The SSL compressor on the drum group will barely do any compression, but this will do heavy compression, and I will just blend that in with the other group. So here we go with a really fast attack, and well, kind of infinity to one. This is well, it's a limiter. It's really nailing those drums. And on the music group, let's go for the Poog Child. Here it is, and looks like this, and these settings are kind of a good starting point. Moving on to the background vocals, here I kind of like the 1176 and well, the CLA 776 it's called in this plugin. Kind of well, everything is kind of a fast attack in this compressor, but within this compressor, medium attack and fast release. And for the main vocal, let's go for a CLA 2A. Here we go. And you might think that, well, Joe, this is a hell of a lot of compression. And I would say, no, it's not. It's quite a lot of compressors, but each compressor is doing or will be doing quite few dBs of gain reduction. So these are just, I see it more like flavors for each group rather than compressing. So on a few channels, there will be some compression going on. On these groups, there will be a tiny bit of compression, and on the master, there will be even more, but still quite few dBs of compression on each place, because dynamics are fun. Dynamics are what makes music. So on the master bus, let's go for the API, because, well, it is rock and roll. So this is the absolute baseline, but I know that I will use a few more things. So let's move on. So let's go to the kick, and for the kick I will use, let's see, in phase live mono. So this one will be on all of the kick channels and all of the snare channels, and, well, basically on all of the drum channels. And let's set all of these to have the sidechain listen for, let's see, overhead right input. And if you want to know why, take a look at the in phase video right up here. I will also have the in phase plugin on the bass DI channel. And again, if you want to know why, take a look at the in phase video. Where at? Here we go. And this one is sidechained to the bass amp input. Moving on, I'm quite sure I want some F6 on all the vocal channels. So let's insert a F6 right after the Shap's Omni channel. And for the master bus, let's have another F6 and obviously some harmonic distortion. So let's go with an F6, and then I kind of like the Magma Lil Tube, because it's one knob and it sounds awesome. So there you go. And we might need some effects, so let's have a look at the effects. And since we are building this from scratch, I will not import the presets that are found on my website, link below, but I will build this from scratch. So the hall reverb, to start off, I kind of like to use a band filter, so I remove all of the low end and all of the top end, so I get kind of clean signal going into the reverb. Then let's use a H reverb. Let's go for, where at? This one. And right now, let's just go for a stock medium hall, and we will tweak this when we come to rehearsals. And after this, I kind of like to use another EQ to tailor the sound coming out of the reverb. So let's just place a emo Q4 over here. So we have 4 bands to tailor the output from the reverb. And actually, let's copy this, and for the plate, let's paste these so we have the absolute same settings, and then go into the reverb and blue plate special. Yeah, why not? Let's just decrease the time to around 2 seconds or so. All right, moving on to the slap, and again, I kind of like to have an EQ going into the reverbs. So, and in this case, the slap delay, and let's use Kramer tape. And right now I see it's mono, and yeah, I see that I forgot to flip all the effects to be stereo effects. So up here you have the mono stereo. So let's do this for all of the effects, and this is one of those things that you have to pay attention to when you're building things from scratch, because I always have these in stereo, so I don't really pay attention to it. But when you're building from scratch, you have to pay attention to everything. All right, every effect is in stereo. So where were we? We were at the slap, and we were to place the Kramer tape, and the delay time, yeah, around somewhere around 150, maybe up to 200 milliseconds, and some small feedback. And yeah, we'll see when we get to the actual rehearsal where we end up. Moving on, the delay again, an EQ. Let's do the same thing over here, and all of this will be tweaked going forward with the rehearsal. Let's go with the H delay, and in this case, this is kind of a good starting point. And let's just make sure that it's set to host. So when I tap the tempo on the fit controller, this delay will follow. Moving on to the drum reverb. Again, let's clean up things going into the reverb, kind of like so. And for drums, I often like to use a IR reverb, and I have an impulse response which can be downloaded from my homepage. All of the Bricasti M7 impulse responses can be downloaded from my homepage, and here you can find the Joe Snare chamber impulse. So there we go, and again an extra EQ on the output, because quite often I like to tailor the sound coming out from the reverb. All right, that's everything for the front of house. Now let's just set up a few things for the monitor side. So let's go to the monitors, and in this case I will have a wedge for the guitarist, a stereo for the main artist. So let's flip this one to stereo. Bass player, keyboard player, also stereo, drummer, and a drum sub. And let's just make sure that all of these are sent pre-fader. So let's go in and change all sources to pre-fader. So let's do all of this for all of the monitor sends pre-fader. And on these auxes, I like to have 2 different EQs. So let's start with the here we go, with the 31 band EQ. So with this one, I will tailor the sound for the wedge we are using today. Then I have another one, and this, most of the time, this is not being used, but this one is just to kind of make quick changes if needed. That's it, and we are ready for the artist. And if you're smart, you will hit save as and save this as a super duper mega awesome rock show startup template. That way you don't need to go through all of this the next time you will do a rock show. So let's do that. And this template will be available for download on my homepage, link in the description, and take care.